This is a part 3 video of me reading a story that I wrote when I was a kid. Part 1 will be here somewhere, part 2 will be here somewhere, part 3 will be here somewhere. This is part 4, not part 3. This is part 4. So as we know, they've just gone their first day back at school since all this drama. Haha! 2 minutes and half a second I was outside my classroom door. You can tell time that precisely? I took one deep breath and opened the door. All of the class were chatting with each other. They seemed to be surprised. Even Claire, my best friend, didn't notice I was there. Aww! Mrs. Armitstead came in. When I was at primary school, my favourite teacher was called Mrs. Armitstead, and I have now obviously written her into my book because that's how much I loved her. Silence! She yelled at the top of her voice. As she walked to the other end of the room, one of the girls in my class noticed me. She smiled and waved, which was extremely weird, for she was one of the popular kids and normally ignored me. Half an hour later and the lesson was over. That's a bloody quick lesson. Claire pulled my arm. Ha! I yelled as she yanked me. That hurt. Sorry, she smiled innocently. It's just, I needed to talk to you before anyone else does. What do you mean? I asked. I mean about you. John, that gunman. It's all over the papers, so everyone knows. It wasn't that great a deal, I explained. All we did, me and John, is distract him and hit him on the head with a pole, that's all. You make it sound like a piece of cake, Claire said. It wasn't, I sighed. It was horrid. I've never been more scared in my life. Joe, come here. You're wicked. Yeah, come here with us. You want to be popular, don't you? Wow. Just wow. A crowd of popular kids were hanging around the corridor. You well cool, said one of the girls I hadn't seen before. How did it feel to wallop that old fool on the head? Well, I stuttered, trying to look away. Don't be shy, kid, said Todd, one of the coolest guys. Yeah, agreed Joe. We're not gonna bite. I can't believe some of the shit I put in this. At last the bell went, and it was break. I couldn't remember if John wanted to meet me at lunch and break, but as Claire had scattered off somewhere again, I decided to go to the cafeteria anyway. Even though there was hundreds of kids in this one cafeteria room, I still found John's happy, smiling face sitting at one of the empty tables waiting. I was glad, because there was one thing I still needed to tell him about. The cheque of £20 million. Hi, I smiled. Hi, he repeated. It's been so cool today. Charlie Ransap, you know, the top kid, well, he's been hanging around with me. The top kid? What the bloody hell is the top kid? Next chapter. A letter. We finally made it to the garden. Oh, they've gone outside into the school's garden, by the way. I should probably add that. John was just about to unlock the shed. They have a shed in the school's garden that the students can just walk into freely, apparently. John looked around, first left to the vegetable patch, and then right to the exotic plant area. Why would a school have an exotic plant area? So what's up? Why private all of a sudden? Well, I began. You know Mrs. Tibbs had a husband, ... It took me the whole of break before the bell went to tell him. Wow, he said. Where's the money now? You haven't got it with you, have you? Goodness, no. What child says goodness? So now she's gone to cookery class with Claire. Oh, and she's not very happy with Claire. Why do you keep ignoring me, I asked. What do you mean, she said. I mean, when you keep rushing off. You know I get annoyed when you don't wait for me. Annoyed is spelt A-N-O-U-G-H-E-D. She looked down, shuffling her feet. Then she looked up at a group of kids down the corridor, the same kids that talked to me before. I thought, she began, looking down again. Well, I thought you wouldn't like me anymore and go off with them. You daft girl, I said, smiling. You know I wouldn't leave you for those animals. Animals, really? It's now the end of the day and they're walking home, and John has upset her, so she's just stormed off. He honestly didn't even do anything wrong and she's just having a hissy fit. So she stormed off home, she's closed her door, and her dad's come in and said, "What's wrong with you, Pumpkin? And where's your brother?" "Don't know. Don't care." Then John comes in and he apologises and they're all big. Ow, bollocks. So John comes in and he apologises and now they're all good again. Next what happens is Joanna gets a letter, and it's a warning letter. And this is what it says. To Miss Joanna Morgan, I am to give you a warning of the £20 million you hold. If you do not leave it at the motor shop's letterbox on Saturday, 8 p.m. in 1 week's time, then you will find yourself in grave danger. So deliver the money and tell no one of this letter, especially the police. Or else. Signed, Anonymous. Like they had to write the word anonymous at the bottom. Alright, kid, calm down. Get out. And I think that's a good time to leave it. We shall conclude this story at a later date. And then you.